The Great War. Top 10 Facts about World War I. Number 1. World War I was a global conflict that took place from 1914 to 1918. And involved the majority of the world's nations, including all of the great powers. These nations eventually formed two opposing military alliances. The Allies comprised of the United Kingdom, France, and Russia, among others. And the Central Powers, consisting of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. The war was fought on multiple fronts, including the Western Front, which stretched across Belgium and France, the Eastern Front, which stretched across Russia and Eastern Europe, the Middle Eastern Front, which saw fighting in the Middle East and North Africa, and the Italian Front, which saw fighting in Italy. The war was characterized by the use of modern technology, such as machine guns, poison gas, and tanks, which resulted in unprecedented levels of destruction and loss of life. Number 2. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary on June 28, 1914, is widely considered to be the catalyst for the start of World War I. Ferdinand was the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his assassination by a Serbian nationalist triggered a series of events that eventually led to the outbreak of war. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. And other countries quickly got involved as part of their alliances. Number 3. The war was fought on multiple fronts, including the Western Front, Eastern Front, Middle Eastern Front, and Italian Front. The Western Front saw the majority of the fighting and resulted in the most casualties. It stretched across Belgium and France and was characterized by trench warfare, with both sides entrenched in deep, fortified positions. The Eastern Front saw fighting between the Central Powers and Russia, with both sides suffering heavy losses. The Middle Eastern Front saw fighting between the Ottoman Empire, a member of the Central Powers, and the Allies in the Middle East and North Africa. The Italian Front saw fighting between the Central Powers and Italy. Number 4. The use of modern technology, such as machine guns, poison gas, and tanks, resulted in unprecedented levels of destruction and loss of life during World War I. Machine guns were used extensively and were highly effective at mowing down enemy soldiers. Poison gas, such as mustard gas and chlorine gas, was used for the first time, and caused widespread suffering and death. Tanks, which were first used in World War I, provided mobility and protection for soldiers and proved to be a major advantage for the Allies. Number 5. World War I was the first war in which countries mobilized their entire populations and economies to support the war effort. This concept, known as total war, meant that all aspects of society were directed towards the war effort. Men were conscripted into the military. Women entered the workforce to fill the jobs left vacant by men. And factories were converted to produce war materials. The war also had a significant impact on the economy, with countries spending large sums of money on weapons, supplies, and other resources. Number 6. World War I was the first war in which aircraft were used for combat. Planes were initially used for reconnaissance, but they were eventually armed and used for bombing and dogfighting. The development of aircraft during the war led to the creation of the modern Air Force. Number 7. The war also saw the use of submarines for the first time, with Germany using them to disrupt Allied shipping. Submarines were a major threat to naval vessels and civilians alike. And the sinking of the passenger ship Lusitania by a German submarine in 1915 caused outrage and contributed to the United States entering the war. Number 8. The war ended on November 11, 1918, with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty imposed harsh penalties on Germany, including the loss of territory, reparations payments, and the disarmament of its military. The treaty was seen as harsh by many Germans, and is often cited as a factor in the rise of Nazism and the eventual outbreak of World War II. Number 9. The war resulted in the deaths of millions of people, including 9 million soldiers and 7 million civilians. The casualties were caused by a variety of factors, including disease, starvation, and the use of modern weapons. The war also had a significant impact on the economies of the countries involved, with many suffering financial ruin as a result of the costs of the war. Number 10. The war had significant social and political consequences, including the collapse of empires, the emergence of new nation-states, and the rise of nationalism and anti-Semitism. The collapse of the Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires led to the creation of new nation-states in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. The rise of nationalism was fueled by the war, with many people feeling a strong sense of loyalty to their country and a desire to defend it. The war also saw an increase in anti-Semitism, with Jews being blamed for a variety of problems, including the loss of the war. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.